Hi there, everyone. Meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you on today, the 11th of October, 2013. Of course, today's main topic is Typhoon Nari, moving ever so closer to Luzon here, expected to make landfall through the overnight hours on Friday and the Saturday. This storm system really continuing to intensify, and very well developed right near that center of circulation. And these outer rain bands already have been causing some problems across Luzon. But also, we have our latest tropical storm out here, Tropical Storm Weefa. We're going to talk about that near the end of this bump update after we talk about Nari here first. And then after that, we have another cyclone. Just going to do a quick touch on that as well, moving through the Bay of Bengal. But first, Nari continuing to move ever so closer here to Luzon, expected to make landfall just south of Casiguran. I know Aurora at this time is in signal force number 3. That is as of making this update. I don't expect them to go to signal force number 4. That would just be a little bit too high out here, but it's still 3 is going to be causing some damage with this storm system. Number 2 in effect from Isabella all the way out there towards northern Quezon. Polio Island, I see number 2, but I think that 3 is very well likely. Winds up to about 185 kilometers per hour. It's possible there. That island's very exposed out over the open water, and hopefully we don't get any reports of any fishermen getting lost coming out of that area. And number 1 also in effect, even over there towards Metro Manila, also Cavite, Quezon. A lot of these very urban areas. Farther down there towards the south, expecting to see tropical storm strength winds or at least gusting up that high. But I do think the metro areas farther down here towards the south, I'm talking about Manila, Quezon, over there towards Cavite City, along Manila Bay, you're going to be seeing the main threat of heavy rainfall. Also that risk of storm surge with those winds coming onshore from the west. Farther out there towards the north, Angeles City, you're also going to be seeing basically a 1-2 threat of these tropical storm strength winds, but also those heavy rains and the flooding and landslides on the northern periphery. But right now, the storm system has gotten a lot more organized. You can see that overall development here. That's what I was talking about right near that center of circulation, and really kind of becoming more organized. Yesterday, we actually showed you a microwave imagery peering through those upper level clouds, and you could see it there. But right now, pressure at 975 HBA, JMA at 65, gust up to 95 knots. JTWC actually has a little bit stronger, and so does Bagasa, and I do think that's a little bit stronger than this. I would say put it right about 70 to 80 knots, so right around about 130 to 140 kilometers per hour. Either way, the right front quadrants of this storm system, that's areas north of that center line, are going to be bringing that risk of storm surge and also coastal flooding definitely coming out of this. But also some of these outer rain bands, and we're already been seeing that on the radar from Project NOAA here. We can actually see it over the Metro Manila area. And really farther off here towards the east, you can see the bulk of those rain bands already coming on shore. I'm making this update rain around 0800 Philippine Standard Time. So this is really just going to be going downhill throughout the day today. By the afternoon hours, the bulk of these convective bands are going to be onshore here across eastern portions of Luzon, extending off this screen here. The radar doesn't see quite as far north as Casiguran, but that's where the worst of this is going to be. I noticed the Subic Bay radar actually down at this time, something quite common for the Philippines radar system. So at this time, though, still expecting this landfall basically Friday night now. It really looks like tonight before our next video update. This is probably going to be moving on shore, going through the overnight hours, pushing across central Luzon. The storm really has picked up its pace. So basically, I hope no one's out and about trying to fish in this at this time, because it really is going to be bringing some very high waves out here in our coastal areas. We can just rewind this back just a little bit. You can see how intense these winds are going to be here, going through the evening hours right along the coastline, starting to pick up into the Manila area. But then after this pushes on shore and tracks off there towards the east, what we are going to be seeing is, well, just conditions deteriorating along the western seaboard, and these winds wrapping around it, and also could look at a storm surge in some areas off here towards the north. So a big mixed bag of weather with this. I still think the main problem, though, as I've been saying the last several days, look at these areas in the darker reds. That is a tremendous amount of rainfall occurring out here towards the north, and we're looking at a pretty serious risk of flooding and also landslides coming out of this, and also a risk of flooding even farther down there towards the south. As this does continue to track off there towards the west. That is all on that storm system. I know I mentioned that I'm going to talk quickly about the other one, so just going to show you the track from WIFA, which I do want to stress. This is warning number 1 from JMA, Tropical Storm WIFA, 35 gusting up to 50 knots. They do expect it to start to make a turn towards the north about the 5-day mark. Now, remember, 5 days is a long way to forecast out, so this cone of air is something to keep in mind. Some of the models do take it farther there towards the west. I'm not saying it's going towards Okinawa. Please, no one tell me that I said that. But I am saying the cone of air does have you in there. It also, on the other hand, could move out here towards the east. So people on the Ogasawara Islands could say I was saying it was tracking towards their direction as well. Most likely scenario, though, I do think it's going to follow that center line, push off there towards the north. And I may be in store for a storm system sometime next week here in Tokyo if that does play out. This is from the GFS model. Actually expects this storm system to loop a little bit off there towards the north, heading towards the northeast. NavGem takes it a little bit farther towards the west, but they get it really close to Okinawa. Like I said, there it is in the cone of air, and actually this would bring some pretty strong winds across the island. Pressure down there about 950 HPA, so about the same intensity. According to this model, that Danas was then shifting off there towards the north, impacting Shikoku in the Kyushu area. So, yeah, that is by Tuesday and the Wednesday of next week. Definitely the storm system watch through the coming week, and exactly where this is going to be going. I think it's going to be a little bit farther here towards the east, just based on the overall flow at this time. But everything's here in the cone of air. We're still at warning number 1, still in the genesis phase. Guam really is the people that want to watch this right now. It has been causing some flooding out here. And then lastly, Cyclone Phelan, actually very severe cyclonic storm according to the Indian Meteorological Department. Winds 125 gusting to 150 knots. This storm system, I think, is going to be a very serious threat to the loss of life out here. We're going to put a full update out on it later on today, but something to keep in mind if you are watching it from the Western Pacific and Eastern Asia, that Southern Asia is in store for a beast of a storm as this comes ashore. Winds 135 up to 165 likely. That would be the equivalent of a super typhoon if JTWC was warning on this as a typhoon. And of course, one of the main threats with this is going to be the high winds and the storm surge right near the coastline. But I think the heavy rains as this tracks inland, much like the Philippines, is really going to bring some devastation out here. Crop loss is going to be a major threat, but also there is this very serious risk to the threat of the loss of life. So cyclone here, typhoon, and a tropical storm. Very, very active. Stay safe out there, everybody.